Our featured book this week is actually one written by a good friend of ours, John Fox, and it is The Confederate Alamo, Bloodbath at Petersburg, Fort Gregg on April 2nd, 1865. This is really a great book, and I'm going to tell you more about it. John's book is actually the first full-length study ever written about this bloody and chaotic battle at Fort Gregg. So let me begin by just giving you a little background information on the battle itself. By April 2nd, 1865, Grant's army had Petersburg surrounded, and they needed to take Petersburg because right behind Petersburg was the capital of the Confederacy, Richmond, Virginia. So Lee's men were trapped. They were surrounded by Federals, and behind them to their backs was a river. So to buy time for Lee to escape, he had a small, really ragtag group of Southerners who made this last desperate stand at Fort Gregg. Renowned Civil War historian Douglas Southall Freeman called it one of the most dramatic incidents of an overwhelming day. Union General John Gibbon said the struggle was one of the most desperate ever witnessed, and both of these men said so for good reason. On the afternoon of the 2nd, thousands of Union soldiers charged across 800 yards of open ground in blistering musket and artillery fire, constant, and they tried to get inside the fort. Over and over again, they made assaults. Another account from a Federal observation describes at least 6 Federal flags surrounding the base of Fort Gregg. Overall, you had roughly 200 to 300 Confederates up against 4,500 to 5,000 Federal soldiers. The Confederates were inevitably overrun, and the fight turned even more brutal because it went from firing muskets and cannons and charging to hand-to-hand combat. And many of the soldiers within this book describe it as unforgettable, the carnage that took place at Fort Gregg. I appreciate this book, The Confederate Alamo, because it really was an Alamo-like situation, or similar to maybe what the Spartans went up against at Thermopylae. It's a tragic tale, but it's one that is both inspiring and reflective when you're studying this conflict. All of these men deserve to be remembered, and their story deserves to be told. And if you're a history enthusiast, this book is for you. And if you're a historian, this book is for you. So this is our book of the week. It's going to be on sale too, so you can pick up a copy if you like. On to other things, I have not had time to really do a whole lot of recording. My time is short these days. I hope to do some more in-depth analysis on some of the critical questions that people ask about our history and our heritage, our Southern history and heritage. I'm also working on a variety of new projects. I've got a bunch of new products coming. I've got a polo shirt, a new coin, of course, that I'm working on that I think you'll be really excited about. And I'll give you a hint. It's from Georgia. And I've also got a new coffee mug. So there are a lot of good things happening here on ConfederateShop.com. And as always, I appreciate everyone's support of our shop. You guys keep us in business, you keep us going, and I thank you for that. Y'all have a wonderful day.